You know how I always say this is not a tutorial channel? We're trying a tutorial today. In this house we craft in pajamas. Let's get into this. Imagine that this video is like a small workshop for potential things to come, but I'm also like just trying things out. I will show the finished project right here. Okay, that's so cute. The little strawberry on top. We got our little whipped cream filling and little cream puffs. Adorable. And this is what I have for supplies. We've got the long rectangle, the short rectangle, these two triangle pieces. Now on top of that, there's also this white piece that goes with the long rectangle, like this. Here we go. First thing I'm gonna do, thread the needle. Boom, there we go. And then tie a knot at the end. I like to do a double knot, like that. Oh wow, the camera really picks it up. Never filmed with this camera before. I've also never taken audio with this camera before, so it might be trash, but we will see. First things first, we have to sew the white piece to the pink piece. And it's really simple. Starting on the back side, which is the side that doesn't have the white piece, needle goes up through the back side, that knot holds it in place, and we're just gonna make little stay stitches all the way down the white part. That's one side. Now, if I had enough thread, I would keep going on the other side, but because I'm almost out, I'm just gonna tie off. On the back side, I'm just gonna make a loop, couple tiny baby stitches, and then loop it through, pull it tight, and that's it. Here I've got a full piece of embroidery floss. What we want to do is separate the embroidery floss into just 3 threads. So we're dividing it in half. Back to this. We're gonna start on one end and go all the way down to the other. And then we're gonna tie off on this end as well. Make a couple of stitches, get that little loop like that. Needle goes through once, needle goes through twice, and pull it tight. Snip, snips. So that's the long rectangle. Now we want to switch our thread color to pink so that it matches what we're sewing. See? Pink and pink. The pink triangle is the bottom of the cake. The white triangle is the top of the cake. This long rectangle piece goes in the middle, like so. If we want to start on the pink triangle, there are a million different kind of stitches, but we are going to use the whip stitch. To start, you want to find the in-between space, poke your needle through. That knot will stop it from going all the way through, and then you've got your starting point. And we're going to do the whip stitch. That means we're going to go around and around and around to stitch these together. So needle goes up, and we pull. Needle goes up, and we pull. Needle goes up. And you just want to do this all the way to the point of the cake. When you get to the point of the cake, so this little part right here, you want to put your needle into that point. And then you're going to turn your work. So we fold it and then match up these two sides. So here we've got the part we've already sewn. There's our point. And now we're going to work on this side. You want to keep holding this part right here where you've kind of made a weird fold. That way it doesn't go anywhere. Same stitch. Needle goes up and we pull. Whip stitch. Whip stitch, whip stitch, and when we get to the end, we want to make a loop like that, and the needle goes through twice and pull. You might end up with a little bit of extra space like this. That's okay, don't worry about it. To hide this long tail, usually what I do is I just kind of bring the thread to the inside of the cake And then I just kind of weave it in a little bit, catch it on a little bit of those fibers, and cut it off. Like that. We're gonna attach the top part in the same way. Now, you could use white thread for this, you could use pink thread. I think I'll use the pink thread. I think that's gonna be cute. Lining up our pieces, find the middle part in between these two. Needle goes up, we tuck those threads, and we start the whip stitch. Again, we go whip stitch all the way to the point of the cake. Same thing here. We get to that point, we want to go on the very point of that cake, and then we're going to fold and manipulate the felt so that the next edge lines up. Make sure you have a good grip on that fold on that point, and we just keep whip stitching. When we get to the end, we're gonna make a loop. There's our loop. Needle goes through once, needle goes through twice, and pull tight. All right, from here, you don't have to cut your thread. We can leave it long because we're going to start working on the smaller rectangle. This is the piece that goes on the back of the cake. So it's gonna go right here. And we want to stitch across the top, down the side, and across the bottom, and then stop. We want to make sure we have an opening so we can stuff in the filling. Got our rectangle piece and our cake. We line up our edges, and we're gonna do the whip stitch still. We're just gonna whip stitch all the way across the top. You might have to manipulate the fabric a little bit because we're sewing on a curve. So you might have to stop, reassess, and then keep going. When you get to the corner, I like to just do an extra little stitch in the corner like that to make sure that everything is holding. And then we turn our work, match everything up. I'm noticing that this little white piece is a little bit long. There's nothing holding it on right there, so I'm okay to just trim it off. But you don't want to trim through your stitches. All right, keep going. Whip stitch down the side. Make sure everything is lined up. Make sure you're going through all layers of the fabric. I'm to a corner, and my thread is getting really short. So what I want to do is I want to tie off. We're going to do one of those little tight stay stitches, and then we'll do another loop. It's just tiny right there. That's our loop. We're going to go through it once, go through it twice, and then we want to hide this tail. We're going to hide it on the inside of our work. And I'm just going to loop it through some of these other stitches and leave it. So it's time to rethread our needle. Divide the thread in half, so there's 3 threads. That's what we want. And I want this side to be the open side for stuffing in our stuffing. So I want to close up this longer side first. Find the middle part so we can hide that knot. Needle goes up and around, and then we're good to whip stitch this part. Again, you might have to stop and manipulate the fabric a little bit so that it matches that tiny curve. Take your time, make even stitches. When you get to that corner, we're gonna do another stay stitch like that. And then it's time to put the stuffing in. So this is our open side. Everything else has been stitched closed, so it's time to stuff the cake. Stuff that in there. Now it's time to sew up that side. Make sure our felt is lined up. We take our needle. I like to do a little stay stitch because it's not quite matching up, but that's okay. And then we just whip stitch the whole side closed to enclose the whole piece of cake. All right, once I get to that corner, we're gonna do a security stay stitch, and then we'll do a loop to tie off. There's our loop. Needle goes through once, needle goes through twice, and we pull tight. Then we want to hide this thread in the cake. So we're just going to poke our needle down in the cake and then out the other side. That way when we cut the thread, it's hidden. There we go. That is our cake. Moving on to the toppings. For the strawberry, we have our half circle and our little leaf. Take the half circle, fold it in half. like this. We tie a knot at the end of the red thread, and then we are going to start at the point. So we have our fold. This is the point of the strawberry. We want to do the whip stitch all the way down this open side. We want these stitches to be a little bit closer than the stitches we were doing for the cake, and I'll show you why here in just a second. When I reach the end, that's when we're going to make our loop. Needle goes through twice and we pull it tight. Then we're going to flip the whole thing inside out. So it should look like this. From here, we're going to do what's called a running stitch. You're going to take your needle and you're going to stick it in one side and then another, in and out. You want to weave your needle in and out of the top of that strawberry cone. And you want your stitches to be pretty long. So here's what my stitches look like. It's maybe as long as my fingernail, like this. And you want to go all the way around the top of your cone with these long running stitches. Once you make it back to your original starting point and your seam right here, and this seam is the starting point. We're going to take our needle off that thread, but leave it long. Then we're going to thread our needle with white thread. Make sure we have a knot tied at the end. And we're going to sew on some stitches so the strawberry looks like it has seeds. I like to insert my needle all the way down into the very bottom of the cone, like so. And then we're just going to do decorative stitches. I like to just make them kind of random. You want them to be tight, but not too tight, but not too loose either. These stitches are supposed to look like the seeds of a strawberry. Once you have your little white stitches that go all the way around the cone, you're going to make your needle pop through to the other side because we want to put our knot on the inside of the strawberry. What I like to do is I'll just find one of my other stitches, like this one, and I'll poke through that stitch, pull it kind of tight but not too tight, and then poke through it again. Make our loop, needle goes through twice, and make it tight. Trim off that tail, and this is what we've got. Pull that white thread out of the needle, and we want to re-thread the red thread. Alright, now it's time to stuff the strawberry. I like to kind of make my stuffing similar shape to the strawberry before I stuff it in. This can be kind of tricky. You want to stuff that stuffing really good down in there, and then pinch it shut like this. That way when you pull the red thread, everything is contained. Pinch the top of that strawberry so it doesn't go anywhere, and you're going to do a couple of stitches across the top of the strawberry to close it off and make sure that it stays closed. And then we will just tie our knot at the end of that thread, shape it a little bit, and it should look like this. Once you're to this point, it's time to add the leaf. I like to just pinch the leaf a little bit like this, do a stitch right in the middle of it, and then stitch it right on to the top of the strawberry. And do another knot just to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. We've got our cake slice, the strawberry, and these little whipped cream puffs that I made from a previous project. I might show you guys how to make these one day, but today is not that day. Let's talk about attaching our toppings to the cake. Now you can hot glue the toppings on. That's definitely an option, and it's the easiest option. It takes the least time, but because I'm downstairs right now and my hot glue is upstairs, I am just going to stitch them on. This is the placement that I want to do, strawberry in the middle and then 3 puffs along the side. Let's start with that strawberry. I want to make sure there's a knot at the end of my thread. I always do a double knot. This is where it gets a little tricky. You want to find an opening in your cake, like right here, where it's kind of still open. Put your needle in through that opening and find the spot where you want your strawberry to be attached. That way your thread is hidden inside the cake. I think I want my strawberry to be attached like this. I think that looks the best. So we're just gonna do a little stitch through the strawberry and then a little stitch through the cake. Pull it tight and we'll do another one. Stitch through the strawberry, stitch through the cake. Pull it tight, test for security. I think that's on there pretty good. So we'll tie a knot, loop it through twice, and then to hide that thread, we're just going to put our needle into the cake at the base of the strawberry and poke it out the back side, trim that string, the strawberry is on the cake. We're going to attach the puffs the exact same way on the outside of the cake and with white thread. And that's it. Okay, that's so cute. The little strawberry on top, we got our little whipped cream filling and little cream puffs on the top. Adorable. Check down below to see if I have patterns up for this yet. I might. I also might not. If there's no link to a pattern in the video description, shoot me an email and I will make sure you get this pattern. It's super simple. It's tons of fun, and this literally took me an hour. Put your jammies on, pop in a movie, and just sew something. It's a lost art. Work with your hands. So cute. Imagine like a whole bunch of these all together to make a full cake. So adorable. And while we're all right here, this is one that I made the other day. So stinking cute. Like, look at these little slices. This is supposed to be like a strawberry tiramisu. I don't know if that's obvious or not. Probably it just looks like cake, but that's fine. And it has the little strawberries on the inside. Adorable! Get out of town right here with these. I'm obsessed with them. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I might be making a whole lot more of these. I also might not. We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. My battery's about to die and the baby is waking up. In this house we craft in pajamas. That's the video. And if you're like me and got a whole bunch of stuff out to do your little craft, go put them away. Don't make your house an absolute crafty disaster. Put your stuff away. Get organized. Don't lose your needles. Don't lose your needles. If you have kids in the house, keep track of those needles. They're dangerous. They're dangerous and scary. I don't want to step on one. You don't want to step on one. Organize your stuff. Put your stuff away. That's what I'm doing right now. Slowly, but I am doing it.